study shows that companies that acknowledge that their supply chain as a strategic differentiator achieve 70% higher performance than companies that don't. So in addition to me, you'll also be hearing from Bill Gausted, who's the sales engineer with MAPADOC, Caroline Walsh, who is the director of sales and marketing for StarShip. Each of our companies have been working to automate supply chain within the Stage 100 community for at least the last 15 years. The combination of our three solutions that you're going to be hearing from today have worked with over 8,000 Stage 100 customers. Some of you who are on today's call are working with one of us or MAPADOC or SPS or StarShip, or some of you may be working with all of our products together. Whether you need to work with EDI or shipping or both of our solutions combined, there's going to be something that you're going to be able to take away from today's webinar. As market leaders, each of our business segments, SPS, MAPADOC, and StarShip, already share hundreds of customers together. However, we really haven't gone to market together. This webinar is going to be one of the ways that we go to market. What we're going to do is take you through a sample scenario of a company called Red Wolf Distributing. Red Wolf is a company, a distribution company that uses Stage 100, and they do business with big box retailers like Home Depot and Target, but they're not currently doing any integration with shipping or EDI. And they have some issues that they're dealing with right now with duplication of orders, pricing discrepancies, and the time it takes them to do the manual entry to get orders in and out of the system, as well as managing the different ways that they ship their product and finding the best rates to get goods in and out of their warehouse. So this is a typical scenario that we run into, a company that has problems like this. And what we're going to show you today is using the SPS, MAPADOC, and StarShip solution, how we can solve for some of those problems. So what I'm going to show you today is first EDI, in and out of Stage 100, and then we're going to get the data in and out of the shipping solution using StarShip. So this is going to just be a visual representation of what the combined solution will look like within the Stage 100 solution. And then Bill and Caroline are going to walk you through an actual product presentation of data coming into the Stage 100 solution, the orders being created and shipped out, and then ASNs and invoices being sent out. So I'm going to run through this little flow chart that we have here and explain what each of the solutions do. So on the left side here, this represents the standard EDI trading partners that some of our customers get EDI data from. So what's going to happen is the trading partners are going to send orders to SPS Commerce, and SPS right now, we send and receive about 4 million EDI documents a month with about 2,000 retailers and about 50,000 suppliers. So we're taking that data in and out, and then in the case of sales orders, we're going to bring that sales order over, and that sales order is going to be created by MAPADOC. We're going to automatically send that data over into MAPADOC, and what MAPADOC does is it validates the data coming in, and Bill's going to talk through some of this stuff. It validates the data coming in. It will make sure if you have items set up, if there are items coming in over EDI that may not be set up in inventory or set up in cross-references within the MAPADOC solution, it's going to validate that data. It's going to tell you if something doesn't exist that should, or ship stores that goods are being shipped to, if those aren't set up in the system. It's going to tell you all that at the time of creation of the order. After the orders have been created, and for those trading partners who require advanced ship notices and label printing, MAPADOC's going to handle all that stuff for you, whether it be pick and pack or case pack. Once the ASNs have been created, that's when the order is going to go over to StarShip. Caroline's going to walk you through the integration of StarShip with MAPADOC, because the MAPADOC and StarShip solution are tied together. That's the time where the user has the ability to pick the appropriate carrier, rate shop, and get detailed information about the shipment, including email notifications and and any scanned information, parcel information, freight information. Caroline's going to walk you through some of that. And then once the order has been shipped out, as the truck goes, and the order is going out to each individual store or DC, however your orders are being shipped, the order then goes over into MAPADOC, where the ASN and invoice is going to be created. Bill's going to take you through that process. ASN is going to actually go out. Then he's going to talk through the invoicing process, where there's different options, whether you're using batching or if you're just creating invoices. There's the ability to resend invoices from history. And then once the invoices and ASNs are sent out, they go over to the back into the SPS Commerce network. And in addition to the MAPADOC validation that you heard on the inbound side with validation of orders and ship-to codes, there's also validation from MAPADOC on the outbound side for the ASNs and invoices. But SPS takes it a step further. Not only has MAPADOC validated the data, but SPS validates the data as well. And SPS does offer 24/7 data monitoring that allows the user to get real-time retail trading partner requirements to make sure that the guidelines are met. And if those guidelines aren't met, then we're going to kick that order back. Instead of sending it to the trading partner, we're going to make sure that either we can fix it, and if we can't fix it, we're going to call you up and help you, walk you through, in conjunction with MAPADOC, walk you through how to get through the ASN or the invoice, whatever document it is that's going back. And between MAPADOC and SPS, we do other documents just in those three that I mentioned, but those are the three that we're focusing on now. So, Bill, I'm going to turn it over to you to get into the presentation of the solution.
Perfect. Thanks, Dane. So, guys, thanks again for joining us today. What we're going to walk through here is, like Dane said before, your typical EDI cycle and how that works with MAPADOC and our integration with StarShip. Because if you guys have dealt with the ASN and the EDI world, you know that there's more information that just sits within Sage that you're required to send. So, I think Amazon is a very good example. Red Wolf is trading with Amazon today. I don't know if any of you trade with Amazon, but they're changing their specifications. So, and this is something that EDI can certainly streamline for you. So I think it's a very good idea to walk through that process. Now, if you're not familiar with MAPADOC, you heard Dane reference before, but we're the integration layer in and out of Sage. And so we're written within ProvideX or SQL, regardless of what Sage 100 version you are on. But we also have integrations into Sage 500 and Sage ERP X3. And now you can see here MAPADOC resides directly under sales order, just like any other module within Sage. So like you said before, or like I said before, we're written within the same logic and tool set. So we have the same interfaces, same look and feel. We're really able to leverage a lot of your Sage processes to streamline EDI, and I'll show that to you here today on what that looks like. Now, with our joint partnership with SPS Commerce. SPS Commerce, they're the experts in EDI, not only from knowing the EDI requirements of your trading partners, but also being able to connect to them, whether that's through AS2 or VAN or FTP. Everyone connects a little bit differently, and so SPS is certainly able to handle that for you. And then MAPADOC, with working with SPS for the past 7 to 8 years, is we've really been able to solidify our best practices from an implementation standpoint and a functionality standpoint. So what we're going to use today is, this is a 2014 version of Sage, so we're all the way up to the current release of Sage 100. Now, we go back as well to, previous versions, but I think this is a good way to show you what the actual process looks like. And then with 2014 actually came out in 2013, Sage came out with these pretty visual process flows to actually walk us through the order. Now, it doesn't look like we have Adobe on here, but what we'll do is we'll actually walk through the process within MAPADOC here. So the first step is, Amazon, again, we'll use them as an example of trading with Red Wolf, is Amazon sends a PO to you. And now SPS will take that PO from Amazon and then send you an email. That email will tell you the number of POs that you received, the PO numbers, and who it's from. So it's really your notification to you saying, hey, you have new POs out there, so you're not having to go to a portal or to another piece of EDI translation software to click import or export to see if you have any available POs. You'll receive that email, and now MAPADOC does have the ability to reach out to SPS at the time that SPS receives that PO, automatically pull in, automatically validate, and automatically create the orders in sales order entry. A lot of our customers like to leverage that because they don't want to touch a thing. They want to receive their POs and have them sitting in sales order entry. Now, some other customers of ours like to have a little bit more control, and that's what I'll show you here today. Because if I showed you automation, there'd be nothing to show. And so at the time that we reach up to SPS, we'll pull any available POs down, and when we pull those POs down, we'll bring them into our validation queue. And now this is where we really differentiate from other solutions in the Sage channel. Is we're actually validating the information before we actually create it in a system. And so we're validating the information your customer is sending on the EDI PO and comparing it to what you have in Sage. And now that would typically surround, if you're shipping to a DC or store, ship to locations. So if you're managing ship to locations in AR, that would be a perfect example of validation. Also, items is a biggie as well. Amazon, for example, and EDI, for their locations, if you're shipping to their warehouses, which most customers are, is they send a SANS number, which is an 8-digit code that Sage only allows for a maximum of 4 in ship to. So we're able to cross-reference that and make sure that not only it's set up in the cross-reference, but it's also set up in Sage so that when we actually create the sales order, it's populating valid information that you have set up in Sage. So when you're sending back those correlating outbound documents, whether that be the shipping notification, invoice, inventory feed, whatever that may be, it's going back the same way it came in, so your exposure to chargebacks is minimized. And so validation here is, like I said, think of it as creating a sales order without creating a sales order, so you can really see how quickly I've validated that information. And when we validate, we'll provide you a report. Now, all our reports are based within Crystal reports. And so if there's any sort of issue or exception or anything of that nature, we'll tell you what the issue is. And you have the ability to pick and choose if an issue is something that you'd like to stop the order or not. So these are an example of different report levels that we have. And so you can see here we have the ability to identify any sort of item price mismatches. We're able to take the price that you have set up in Sage. So if you have specific price levels for that customer in Sage, we're able to follow that. Or if you'd like to populate the price from the EDI PO on the sales order, we're able to populate that as well and then tell you if there's a conflict. And we can even bring it to another level, is we can actually stop the order from being created if you do not want, if the prices are out of whack. Now, typically that's not the case, but some of our customers have seen that, and they would like the order to be stopped. And then you can see here, another thing I wanted to point out is, to avoid duplication of POs in the system, we have the ability to read if this customer purchase order has already been on a sales order in the system. So it really allows you to validate, to make sure that this is a valid PO that I have not already processed as of yet. And now if we can, like I said before, we can bring it to another level and stop these POs from being created. So let's just say you brought in a batch of 10 POs and 9 of them looked great, or one of them had an invalid an invalid ship to code or an invalid item number. We're able to stop that one, but still create the other 9 in the batch to avoid holding up the entire batch to accommodate that one order for you to review and for you to manage internally within Sage. So this is an example of a report that's clean, but here's some I guess notifiers of mismatches or some things that may cause a red flag. So I'm going to exit out of this report and clear it. And then MAPADOC will bring me to the last step automatically. It'll ask me, do I want to create orders? So I'll click yes here. And again, if I brought down multiple trading partners at once, it will show you the different trading partners that you had new available POs out there for, and it will list each trading partner separately. And you have the ability to select or unselect if you want to process one trading partner at a time, if you want to process 3 out of 5, or all trading partners at once. You would have the ability to manage that if you have different resources internally, or if you like to do more of a batch processing type of flow in regards to creating your orders in the system. Now, obviously, we only have one trading partner here. When I click proceed here, what this is going to do is that's actually creating the orders in the system. So you can really see how quickly that goes. I think we did a benchmark test of, we did 2,500 different POs through our benchmarking test internally, and that process took only 30 minutes. So the processing times in regards to actually creating the orders is very, very quick, and we're very, very stringent on ourselves to make sure that it is quick, because it's one thing to integrate, but if it's going to take 5 minutes per PO, what's the difference, right? So as you can see here, we've created 2 orders in the system. So they're sitting in sales order entry waiting for me to process. Now, we do provide you some more reports as well of what was just processed through that creation. And here, it's very similar to the last report, but it brings it to the next level. It will tell you the sales order number as well. Now, we have the ability to go in sequence with Sage's standard numbering system. So if you're entering non-EDI orders as well, there's no need to worry about duplication or overwritten other sales orders. But we also have the ability to prefix or suffix by customer what that order number is. So here you can see here the customer's ABF, and we created the order AB, or prefix the order with AB to give you a little more differentiation based off the sales order number, who that order is actually for. So I'm going to exit out of this report, clear it, and we provide you one last report as well. That's mainly a high-level snapshot of what you just brought in that batch. Okay, so really, order number, PO number, date, total units, and total dollar amount. Now, I'm going to real quickly pull up one of the orders that we created in the system. So I'm going to go into sales order entry and pull up one of the 2 that we actually created for Red Wolf Distributing. Oops, did the wrong prefix. So I'll pull up AB005. And this is, again, a standard sales order in Sage. So we're following the same rules as if you're manually entering the sales order. So if you have any defaults set up by ship to or by customer, we're not going to overwrite that. You have the ability to pick and choose what information you want from the EDI PO and place it on the sales order. Now that would typically surround, order date, customer PO, ship date is another good example. Now, there are some fields in the EDI world that Sage does not have a standard placement for, department number, vendor number, even something as common as UPC code. What we do to accommodate that is we have our own user-defined fields in the background, so when we create the order in the system, what we're going to do is, not only place it on the sales order, but also place it on those fields in a UDF. So when you're sending back that collating AFN and invoice, which we'll show you here in a little bit, it will send back out the same way it came in. So you don't need to maintain it, nor do you need to worry about if it's required. That's our job to do that for on your behalf. So at this point in time, the order's in the system, and we're ready to ship it. Now, MAPADOC has its own ASN module that is directly linked with StarShip. So I think this is a good segue to walk into real quickly to show you up front what our ASN module looks like. Then I'll hand it over to Caroline to actually walk through the StarShip application. So like I said before, Sage is not geared for EDI, and that's even more true for the ASN document. The ASN document is certainly the most expensive and complex document in the EDI world. And what I mean by expensive is it has the most requirements and it exposes you to chargebacks. So MAPADOC has its own ASN module that works along StarShip, that works alongside Sage to pull over that necessary information so there's to avoid the duplicate entry or additional work, but at the same time meeting the different EDI requirements in the EDI world. And now you can see here the first step is create order package and label data. That allows you to manually bring in the orders into the ASN module. But if you're printing a pick sheet, if you're printing the sales order, which I'd say 9 out of 10 of our customers are, what that will do is at the same time that you print that within Sage, that will automatically bring the order into our ASN module if it's for an EDI trading partner. So you don't need to worry about if you're printing pick sheets for EDI customers that don't require the ASN or customers that are not EDI. It will only bring in orders for customers that allow you or that require you to do the ASN. So this is the second step in our ASN process called edit order package and label data. I'm going to pull up one of the orders that we printed a pick sheet for, and I want to point out a couple things before I hand it over to Caroline. So not only do we automatically bring it into our ASN module when you print the pick sheet, but if there's any sort of rhyme or reason to how you're packing, based by trading partner, we know this. We know each trading partner is different. But I guess case pack quantity is a good example of this. If you have set case pack quantities by item, we can automatically pack the order for you as well, because on the ASN document, not only are they going to want to know how you shipped it and the tracking and the carrier, but how it was packed. That's a biggie, especially when you're shipping to DC and store, because that's how you're going to be printing your UCC 128 labels as well, right? So MAPADOC, in this instance, we brought down there's 20 items on the order, and there's a case pack quantity of 10, so we packed it into 2 cases. Now, also, if you have weight set up in Sage, we're able to auto-calculate the weight as well. So really what that means for you is at the time that you print the pick sheet, the order is brought into our ASN module, ready for you to create UCC 128 labels. MAPADOC has the full capability to print UCC 128 labels as well. So for this customer, I can select this button, create case labels for this order. And what that will do is that will print out those 2 case labels to the specific label printer on site. So you don't need to pick a template. We recognize who the order is for, and then print out their EDI label specifications on, in two case labels to your specific label printer on site, so you can slap them on the box. So at this point in time, we brought the order in, we created the sales order, we printed a pick sheet, and then we also brought it into our ASN module and auto-packed it and printed our labels. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Caroline to show you all how we integrate directly with the StarShip application, not only on the export, but on the back end of the import as well.
Thanks, Bill. Hey, guys, this is Caroline from V Technologies. I'm just going to segue into the StarShip piece of it here. So as you see directly on this MAPADOC screen, we have that StarShip button. If I click on that, StarShip will come up on screen with all the information populated that MAPADOC is pushing over to StarShip. So it's going to include both the header and line item detail as well as the case packs that were created in MAPADOC. And so in this particular instance here, I do have my address validation turned on, and StarShip is recognizing that that my address is not quite valid. So I can select a valid address here. There's lots of settings wrapped around the address validation, the time that it can pop up, as well as if you want to use it or not use it. But StarShip can validate ZIP+4 as well as residential and commercial. So on the left-hand pane of my screen here, you'll notice that there's some header-level information or shipment-level information coming over. You'll see the Sage document that was sent over from MAPADOC. The ship via is being translated, as well as the billing type can be also translated if you'd like it to, sender and then recipient. If you look down in the packaging view, these are those 2 case packs that Bill mentioned earlier, and I can drill into each of those and see the items that make up these case packs. So these would be the items that are coming in from your trading partner on that PO, already packed up, ready to go. In this case, it looks like you'll notice here on StarShip there's a little red box. It's just showing that the weight of this particular box is too heavy for a parcel shipment here. So I'm just going to modify it on the fly. You can have StarShip read the weight directly from the electronic scale. You can read the weights in from the Sage system, as you saw here, or you can manually type one in if you'd like to. If I wanted to, just to show you in this instance, I can also do a rate shop, and StarShip will go out and rate all the available carriers and services that I have loaded in my application to come back with my negotiated rates for these carriers. So in this particular case, when I do my rate shop, you'll see a combination of both the parcel and freight side of the world. StarShip does support both parcel and freight in one user interface. I can sort on any of these. So if I wanted to look here, I translated from my ship via second day air. That's expected delivery date of October 30th. But maybe I want to save a little over $100 and pick ground here. You can do that from within StarShip, and you can also have StarShip automatically select this based on your own shipping scenarios. So I just showed you a manual way of picking it, but like I said, you can automatically select it. You can have various rules in place, and the rules can be based on your Sage 100 fields. So once I'm ready to process this, I can just do ship and process here. StarShip will generate the barcoded shipping labels for you and also send the information back to MAPADOC. So this is what we call a smart label. It is the packing list plus the shipping label on one. You can opt to print the shipping label and packing list directly to a thermal label printer if you'd like, or just the shipping label by itself. you have options there. So that was my first case pack, and here's my second case pack. All the information that came over from MAPADOC being automatically populated here. The other nice thing I want to mention with regards to MAPADOC is that they do offer pallet level integration with StarShip. So if you are shipping pallets via LTL or even TL, you can have that automated as well, that second level of packaging with the handling units. And then the information also gets populated back in the MAPADOC screens. Before I hand it back off to Bill, I wanted to just show you a couple other things that you can do with StarShip. In the EDI case of shipping, many times you're not going to be sending an email notification to the recipient like you would maybe with a small package going directly to an end user. But you may, in the case of EDI, want to notify your salesperson that a shipment has been processed and for an EDI order, and give them some information about the tracking numbers and items that are associated and how they were shipped. So in this particular case, I've set up a template that's an EDI template that is being sent to the salesperson that's associated to this, this order. And like I said, in other cases, you might have an email that's going directly to a customer. And the nice thing here is that the item and box and tracking information can all be included in the email, giving your customer a better view of the shipment and what's coming and how many packages. You can also include your SAGE information here, so the purchase order that came over from the MAPADOC solution, your order number, all of these can be included in the email here. And then the other utility that StarShip will give you is a dashboard. It does give you access to the shipment, all the shipment data, without having to have a shipping client installed. So used primarily for management or front office employees to maybe get additional detail about a shipment or see some performance indicators like your top customers. You can also view shipments by shipper. So if you wanted to see how many packages each of your shippers were processing on any given days, you could do that. And you can drill into any of these to see all the details about what makes up that metric, and then all the information about any one particular shipment. Once you bring up the shipment record, you can also track directly from here. StarShip also supports background tracking so that you can have immediate access to where the package is in the delivery cycle. And with the background tracking, StarShip also gives you the ability to run things like late deliveries reports, where it can compare the guaranteed delivery date and time to the actual one and report any discrepancies for you. Okay. With that, I'm just going to pass it back to Bill so he can go over the MAPADOC side after the shipment happens.
Perfect. Thanks, Caroline. So real quickly before because at this point, we brought the tracking over, so in most cases, we're ready to actually create our ASNs. I just want to show you real quickly where the tracking was populated. So you can see here, directly from StarShip, the tracking number was populated directly back into MAPADOC. And now you do have the ability to create ASNs one at a time. You can see here this Create ASNs button. And what this will do, you can create an ASN one by one. But with the StarShip integration, we're pulling over the tracking number automatically for you. So we have a nice feature called ASN Auto Select. And this allows you to create multiple ASNs for multiple customers at a time. So you can see here there's a lot of different selection criteria. You have customer number, you have sales order number, batch number, ship date, and you can set a lot of different defaults as well. But we have this handy little button down here called multiple orders. What this will do is this will show you any available order that's in our ASN module that you have not created an ASN for as of yet. So it's really doing the filtering for you. So I'm going to go ahead and select my 2 orders, hit select here, and MAPADOC will ask me, are you sure you want to create a single ASN per shipment, so 1 ASN per order? That's typically the case. We do have a lot of customers who are required to do consolidated ASNs, which we are certainly able to accommodate, where that's the consolidated ASNs where you have multiple orders on one shipment. So I'll click yes here, and what that's doing right now is that just created 2 ASNs, pulled up the necessary tracking, and place the ASNs in a holding queue for me to send out. So I'm going to click OK here, exit out of the screen. Now, you do have the ability to review the ASNs before you send out. For our customers, that's typically not necessary because of the fact of our validation tool. So I'll come into ASN creation. So you heard me talk about validation on the outbound, or sorry, on the inbound earlier. You certainly have the ability to validate on the outbound as well. And so within the past 3 or 4 months, we actually took it to another level. In version 5.0 and 5.1, we brought it to another level where if you try to send an ASN out with missing information, so let's just say a tracking number was missing, or weights weren't filled in, whatever it may be, MAPADOC will stop it from going out. So that really assures you that any document you send out of your system meets your trading partner's requirements. And that's especially true with the ASN. And so really what that does is for our customers is, like you heard me say, is it's the ASNs going onto your system are going to be meeting your trading partner's requirements. And then secondly, we it doesn't require you to review every single ASN. If you're processing hundreds of ASNs a day, it's impossible for your team to review every single one. So this does it for you automatically. So when I click proceed here, and again, similar to the inbound where I can create multiple trading partners at the same time, I can do the same thing with the ASN. So it's not like I need to do trading partner at a time. I can click select here, or send 3 out of 5, send all. It's certainly up to what works best for your team. And now when I click proceed here, what that's going to do is that sends out, if it passes, it validates, and if it passes the validation, it sends out directly to SPS. And SPS then validates that through their data network as well to ensure it meets the trading partner. So think of it as 2 safety nets. If it passes, it goes directly to your trading partner, and that process takes on average of 1 to 2 minutes, so it's very real time. If it doesn't, let's just say in the instance there's missing information or information may have changed, SPS will stop that ASN as well. So again, that double safety net to ensure any ASN or invoice that goes out of your system, or any outbound document for that matter, will get you can assure that will get to your trading partner, when it based off the required fields they require of you. So I'm going to click OK here, exit out of my report, and that's really the ASN process. So we're actually able to take the ASN all the way through. One thing that I do want to point out is it's very helpful for our customers who are not using shipping data entry. We're able to actually create your invoices in invoice data entry. So customers who are using shipping data entry today within Sage are able to recognize that shipping data entry creates their invoice batches in Sage for them. Now, a lot of our customers aren't using shipping data entry, so we actually took it to another level, and based off the ASNs that we just created, we can create the invoices in invoice data entry, so you're not creating an invoice one by one. It does the invoicing in batches for you. And if you're doing batch processing within Sage, you'll be able to either create a new batch or apply to a already previously created batch as well. So it's a very streamlined process that would take it even beyond EDI. Now, invoicing. Invoicing is very simple, and I'll be very quick. It's my favorite part of the demonstration because of the simplicity with it. Where MAPADOC comes into play from an invoicing standpoint, or sending out your invoices via EDI, is after you post and update your sales order journal. So at the time that you post, regardless if you're posting EDI or non-EDI invoices, doesn't matter. We recognize which invoices are meant for EDI, automatically select those, and then automatically send those out to your trading partners. So there's no additional steps that you need to do outside of posting what you're already doing today in Sage to send out your invoices via EDI. And it will follow the same rules as the ASN, where if it's missing any information, MAPADOC and SPS will stop it so it doesn't get to your trading partner, and then let you know what the issue was. And we also provide reports as well, so those reports can be linked to Paperless Office. If you want those reports emailed, or we can have those auto-printed as well. So sending out invoices is very simple. If you ever need to resend an invoice, very simple as well. Any invoice that's for an EDI customer that's in history, you have the ability to resend at any point in time, where you can enter your invoice number or your invoice date or a range, certainly up to you based off that selection criteria. Now, there's one thing I do want to point out before I turn it back over to Adrian, is within the past year, we came out with what we call an EDI order inquiry screen. What this allows you to do is it allows you to track any information that that you sent out, so or you received in. So it tracks it by sales order number, PO number, and you're able to track if you've ever sent an ASN for it, if you sent an invoice for it. So it follows that process or that document flow all the way through. So if you ever get an email back from a customer saying, hey, we never received an ASN, well, you can go directly into here and say, yeah, well, I sent it on, June 20th by this user. What's going on here? So from a troubleshooting standpoint, because, there's a reason why we're all here. Trading partners don't make EDI easy, and there's going to be a point where things may not work out the best, but we provide tools to allow you to troubleshoot that in an easy manner, and also staff as well to support that. So I just wanted to point that out because that is a new feature with MAPADOC. But I think at this point, I'll turn it back over to Adrian to open it up to any questions or anything of that nature.
Thank you so much, Bill and Dane and Caroline. Great presentation. It's great to see these three solutions working together and how they make an integrated supply chain management solution. We do have some questions here. While we're announcing the questions, I'd like to just launch some polls for the audience to answer. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the first poll here. Are you interested in learning more about shipping automation? If you could go ahead and take just a second to answer that poll, that would be wonderful. And let me take a look at the questions. We have, thank you, Autumn, for your question. Can you show us a PDF copy of the sales order created through EDI?
Yeah, so this is there's two ways of doing that. With SPS, they have a portal that you can go out and print the PO from. If you actually want to print the sales order, you can certainly print that sales order directly from Sage, because once it's in the system, it's in sales order entry. So you can set up a certain sales order form to actually print that directly from Sage. But if you want to actually print the EDI PO, SPS has a web portal where it not only acts as housing the information in an easy-to-read format, but also as a backup. So if your EDI Sage ever goes down, God forbid, you would certainly have the ability to go to the web forms portal to transact your EDI as well.
And then does this process allow for mixed cartons, multiple items in a single carton, as well as multiple cartons of a single item?
It does, yeah, and I probably should have mentioned that earlier. So I mentioned it comes from an automation standpoint. It is very nice, but if you're doing like you said, mixed cartons or like a pure pick and pack kind of thing, you certainly have the ability to manually enter that information. Or if you have like a set number of items that every single, like 2 items per case every single time, we certainly have the ability to set that up. And then we do work well with scanners. So if you're packing and you're scanning it in, that would certainly work well for that as well. So yeah, I showed automation, but you certainly have the ability to manually pack if it's more of a pick and pack type of structure, and we're able to accommodate. I just use case pack quantities, I guess, as more of an example, but there's a lot of different ways that we have the ability to set up auto packing, and you certainly have the ability to manually pack it as well.
And Bill, you mentioned that processing 200 sales orders will take about 30 minutes. We often process 500 to 1,000 orders at a time. How long do you think that would take? And can others use sales order entry during that time?
Yeah, and actually I meant it's 2,000, not 200. So, 500 to 1,000 orders, you do the math. I mean, 1,000 orders will take 15 minutes, 500 will take, 7.5. So, I did mean 2,000 orders. I apologize if I kind of mumbled there a little bit. And then, yes, absolutely. Other users can be in sales order entry while those are being created.
And then thank you, Panchai, for that question. And then we have another question here. We seem to be doing all of these steps outside of Sage already through SPS and Amazon's EDI. How is this saving us time and money?
Dane, you want me to take that one, or do you want to take it?
Yeah, I guess. Well, why don't you take it, Bill?
Okay. So yeah, with Amazon, well, starting I think either November 1st or December 1st, one of the two, they're going to start requiring you to do labels. Now, regardless if you're on Vendor Central or through EDI, they're going to start requiring you to do EDI labels, and we have a lot of customers today who are already looking at onboarding Amazon as an EDI trading partner. But from a, I guess, time-saving standpoint, you know, if you're doing, I don't know if you're doing Amazon on web forms today, if that's what you're referencing, Steve, but basically what we're able to do is, instead of you having to go out to the web forms portal and manually enter that information into Sage, that information will be automatically populated as well into the sales order, and then vice versa. So all that manual, I guess, processing you're doing in web forms, instead of going out and manually processing it in. Okay, so you're using SPS for Granger. So Granger would be a perfect example of, you know, instead of going on web forms to actually to process Granger, that would be done through the process I just showed you, so you don't have to manually enter that information in. Now with Amazon and Vendor Central, no, MAPADOC relies on SPS to connect to Amazon. So what we're able to do is for MAPADOC to integrate with Vendor Central, we rely on SPS to connect to Amazon. So Vendor Central will always be there, but instead of having to go to Vendor Central to process your orders, SPS will flow that PO all the way through for us to create the sales order in the system. And then same with the back out when you're sending back your acknowledgement and invoice and ASN and label. So I guess the reason why I used Amazon as a good example is because their new label requirements they're requiring people to do, regardless if it's EDI or Vendor Central.
So that removes the chance of error, human error, correct, because of duplicate data entry?
It does, yeah. So not only speeds it up from a processing standpoint, but it certainly, you know, we're all human, so it'll take away that possibility of error when the orders are being entered, and then also that shipping information back out.
And then it also takes away all that time it takes for somebody to indicate manually as well.
Exactly.
So thank you, Maria, for your thank you. Panchai, thanks for your question. Caroline, how are sales orders prioritized in WorldShip, and what does the queue look like?
Hey, this is Caroline. So what I showed you today is the StarShip solution, which would actually take the place of WorldShip while giving you that integration to MAPADOC and SPS for your trading partners. We do have an integration between Sage and WorldShip, but it's it's kind of our entry-level solution. Doesn't really offer the same functionality that you're seeing with StarShip and MAPADOC. As far as queuing, I think really the queuing is done primarily based on the shipments and when you're processing them. We don't really have like a queue per se in StarShip that will, you know, automatically select which one you want to be shipping at any given time. Typically that's done as part of either in the MAPADOC side when you're processing your ASNs, or if you're non-EDI orders, you know, part of your warehouse management solution, and which you may be using a scanning solution like on Scanco, as Bill mentioned earlier, or you may just be going through and picking and packing.
And then we have another question from Panchai. Panchai, does MAPADOC work with other EDI solutions? Thank you.
I'm not, in regards to other, you know, typically over the past 8 years, we've been really pushing our customers towards SPS Commerce because of SPS's expertise. And what we've really seen from an implementation standpoint is, you know, it reduces the time, the amount of effort, and, you know, error, because SPS is handling all that connectivity with you know, with your trading partners, and we're managing within Sage, so you get double the team to handle that for you. Now, we do work with other EDI translators, but I'd say 95% of our net new customers we sell or we work with SPS because of the ease and the relationship that we have with them, not only from a technical standpoint, but also a business standpoint as well.
And so we will follow up too with your questions, Panchai, your additional questions here. Thank you. And thank you, Steve. Also managing only one SPS? Stephen, thank you for that question. Could you maybe take a moment just to elaborate on that? I just want to make sure we're answering your question. Also managing only one SPS. Bill, I think that might be an additional comment to a previous question.
Yeah, it looks like Steve is typing there. So I'm not really exactly sure what also managing one is, but I see it looks like he's kind of expanding on what he meant. So
I will announce the next question, and then we'll wait for Steve to add to that one. And thank you, Autumn, for this question. How long does it take to set up an EDI integration? For example, if we want to set up an integration for Amazon and we say go tomorrow, when can we expect to use the integration?
So the nice thing with SPS and MAPADOC is the nice thing with SPS and MAPADOC is if you need to get up and running within 5 to 7 business days, SPS has, you heard me reference web forms before, which is an EDI solution that Amazon or any other customer just sees you as being compliant with EDI. And now, typically, what we say with Amazon is with integration with MAPADOC and SPS. If you're not on web forms, typically would say anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks because there's a lot of testing that's involved, and that's being conservative. We work with Amazon on a daily basis, so we certainly know their EDI requirements. Now, if you're on SPS's web forms, it kind of gives you a step up already because of the fact that you're live with EDI. You're done testing with Amazon from an EDI standpoint. Now you want to go from web forms to MAPADOC in the integration fashion. We're able to just take those production POs that you've received in the past week or so and get those up and running. That really speeds up the testing process because it's internally tested between SPS and MAPADOC with POs you've already received, so we know they're valid production POs. So that usually speeds it up a couple weeks because we're not having to deal directly with Amazon from an EDI testing standpoint.
And we have another question here. Thank you, Teresa. For Amazon back orders using MAPADOC and SPS, can we still push out dates on the orders, or do we still have to do that through Vendor Central?
No, either way, Vendor Central will not go away, but Amazon has what they call a PO acknowledgement document, or the 855 in the EDI world, that they require on every single PO. MAPADOC is fully capable of sending the 855. It's a very seamless process. Now, I believe Amazon has a certain code, if you will, that identifies, hey, we're pushing this out, we're pushing this date out, that you would just send back on the 855. So you'd be able to use the 855 with MAPADOC and SPS to accommodate that, to avoid you having to go out to Vendor Central to push out the dates. So.
And then here's the elaboration on Stephen's previous question, Bill. What he meant was Vendor Central goes away because SPS will manage Vendor Central, correct?
Not 100%. No, I mean Vendor Central will never go away. That will always be there. We're handling the EDI portion of it because you may be using Vendor Central for other things like I know they have scorecards and other sorts of communication. Now they do. I don't know if you're doing any sort of request for routing in Vendor Central. We certainly have the ability to integrate that within SPS and MAPADOC. That's the 753, 754 documents. But some of our customers, they still go into Vendor Central to handle that. So it all depends on how integrated you want. But Vendor Central is never going away. We will, from an EDI order processing standpoint, that MAPADOC and SPS will handle that. But Vendor Central will always be there for you as a backup, or if you need to access other information outside of EDI.
And our last question here, I just want to remind the audience, if you have any questions, go ahead and click on that question mark button and indicate your question via text, and we'll announce your question. How does it work with LTL and mix match pallets? Thank you, James.
Hey, James. Bill, I'm not sure if he's referring to the LTL pallet functionality inside of MAPADOC or from within StarShip, but StarShip does give you the ability to, define boxes on pallets or not if you don't want to. And from an LTL perspective, we basically just support an extra level of packaging, that being a handling unit, whether it's a pallet or a skid. Also, from an LTL perspective, StarShip does have electronic communication to over a dozen LTL carriers. So we do support the top 10 national carriers, as well as 3PLs like FreightQuote, FreightView, and that gives you the ability to get rates, your negotiated rates, directly from the LTL carriers if you'd like, without having to deal with managing tariffs and everything inside of the shipping application.
And I'm not seeing any more questions. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out to spend with us today. I have a poll up here that we had launched earlier. It looks like 59% of you are interested in learning more about EDI for Sage 100 ERP. We will reach out to you. We also recorded this presentation. We'll be posting the presentation to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ERPVAR. We'll be doing that later today. We'll also send a follow-up email with the recording and all of the presenters' contact information. And thank you so much for joining us once again. Do the presenters have anything left to close with?
This is Dane from SPS. I just wanted to say thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking to any of you who might be interested in getting some more information about EDI and SPS Commerce.
Thanks,
Caroline and Bill, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Again, just to kind of echo what Dane was saying, thanks again all for joining us today. If you guys have any questions, I'm sure Adrian will give you our contact information that you can just send directly to us. Feel free to reach out at any point in time.
All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you so much.